Alright, so right here we have the plateau that's referenced on the Manuel Peralta map. So you can see right behind, if you follow the power lines down, there's that point above tree line. Don't look at the mountains in the background, look at this plateau here. So there's a point and then it curves around and lips in. And then if you were to actually go up onto this plateau, the whole thing is scattered with mine shafts. There's one of the areas that the Leadville miners hit, but it's also a reference point because it references exact same locations that can be found on the Manuel Peralta map. Now this is just one of a few different maps, but this is part of that history that would be lost if we don't recognize, if we're not able to recognize it, right? So this plateau is represented by the Manuel Peralta map, and then the different mine entrances and stuff like that on said map can all be located directly on this plateau. But at the same time, based on the data that we have, we also know that the Leadville miners, when they came through in the late 1800s into the early 1900s, they ripped the crap out of it. I mean, like, they mined the crap out of it. There is literally 20 or 30 different mine shafts throughout this plateau. And then if we were to travel over to the left there, where it starts getting into some trees, well, the backside of that's still pretty open. But back there is where the Leadville backcountry yurts are. So the mountain range behind this is Horseshoe Mountain. And then we have Sheridan and Sherman. And back that way was with the Shermans, where we have the California Gulch. Anyways, this plateau specifically here is represented by the Manuel Peralta map. And like I said, you can pinpoint every little thing on that Manuel Peralta map on this plateau. So now granted, this is, like I said, one of the areas that the Leadville miners hit hard without the knowledge of its historical reference. So we have our own history that we created, but in the same time, in the same process, it destroyed previous history of this location. So the Manuel Peralta map is another map that references the lost Dutchman mine site. So there's fossilized bone up there, I believe to be dinosaur. There's just a lot of really neat stuff. But anyways, this is a reference point. So Leadville Mining District literally is a reference to the lost Dutchman, to the Josephine mine, to the whole thing is represented in one. So when the conquistadors came up here and started mining this stuff, they essentially enslaved the natives. So then the natives revolted and they actually beat the conquistadors because they caught the conquistadors off guard. So then the conquistadors had to flee this entire area, this Leadville mining district, in order to get away. So what they do, they stashed what they were working on. So we have this historical thing, and like I said, the Leadville miners really ripped this area apart of the mines when they came through, but we don't know that historical reference point with the Manuel Peralta map. Anyways, so this is just one thing, right? This doesn't even go into the Peralta stones just yet. But the Manuel Peralta was part of that Peralta family that, it is believed, created the Peralta stones. Anyways, so another map from that same family referencing this specifically, and because the Manuel Peralta map came after the Peralta stones, then because it's actually on paper, transcribed on paper versus rock, then we know that this is the area that they really hit hard. And then of course the Leadville miners came in and hit it even harder. I mean, like, it's a really neat area, but there is some dangerous stuff up there because there's shafts that literally go straight down. So there's definitely dangers associated. But this historical reference is just super duper neat because the Lost Dutchman is Leadville, Colorado, essentially. It's our mining district, and that's just a really neat factor. So over here, you can kind of see parts of Iron Hill. But anyways, off to the very left of the screen there, we can see Iron Hill. So up in that area where J.J. Brown, or Lawrence Brown, so the Brown family, that's where Molly Brown comes from. That's where that whole, that same Titanic Molly Brown, she became a Brown because she married J.J. Brown, Joseph Brown, I forget the name, maybe Jones. Anyways, it was J.J. Brown, J.J. like Josh Jordan, huh? Anyways, so that's how Molly Brown became a Brown, but then they made their fortune, and that's how Molly Brown was able to go on the Titanic. And then, of course, the whole, she survived, so because of her thick skin from living up here. But anyways, that's where that whole concept came from. Anyways, their mines over there, the Little Johnny mine, which was part of one of JJ's investments, that was the richest gold mine in the world at one point in time. So you think about it, right? The Lost Dutchman site was claimed to have the richest gold mines of the time. Is it a coincidence? Yeah, I don't think so. Because the maps, we can pinpoint to this location.